Hello and happy Eastertide to all of you. Planning any getaway trips this year is going to be fraught with complications. Will they, won't they happen? But one of the benefits of lockdown is that we've been able to revisit previous destinations by looking at our photographs and sharing memories. Last week, Peter and I were recalling our circuit trip to the Holy Land. And one of the highlights for me of that visit was sitting by the lake or the Sea of Galilee. We have a group photograph of us all sitting near the shore, singing a hymn, early-ish in the morning. Then later, we returned for an evening sailing on the lake as the sun was setting. A truly memorable experience, worth visiting and revisiting in memory. And it was impossible to stand on that shore and not think about the calling of the first disciples. In Luke chapter 5 has it that Simon Peter had had a fruitless, exhausting night's fishing when he was asked by Jesus to take him out in his boat. And using the boat as a speaking platform, Jesus addressed the crowds on the shore. Peter was a captive audience on that boat. His soul was stirred by Jesus' words. And when he'd finished, Jesus instructed Peter to cast out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch. So great was the number of fish that others had to help to bring them in. Back on shore, Simon Peter was so immense that he sank to his knees, begging Jesus to leave him because he said, "I'm a sinful man." But Jesus reassured him, saying, "Don't be afraid. From now on, Peter, you will fish for people." And that call to disciple was the turning point for Peter, the beginning of an exciting, life-changing relationship, a moment surely etched into Peter's memory as vivid as any photograph. John chapter 21 describes how some 3 years later, after the roller coaster events of the crucifixion and the first Easter, the same group of disciples find themselves back on the shores of Galilee, doing what they know best, fishing, going back to the way things were. Yes, Jesus had risen from the dead, but doubts and despondency plagued them. As they bring in the empty nets in the chill of the morning, did they relive their first encounter with Jesus? Was it all worth it? What is it that they've now been told to wait for? But for Peter, the weight of grief and guilt still clearly hangs over him, heavily. Once more they had experienced a disastrous night's fishing. Fed up, they're returning, when a man on the beach shouts to them, "What have you caught?" "Nothing," was the dismal reply. A simple word reflecting not just the lack of fish, but the gaping hole Jesus has left in their lives. And then, just as before, they're instructed to throw the net over the other side of the boat. And repeating the miracle of 3 years before, there's another mind-blowing catch. Peter's memory kicks in. "It is the Lord," he shouts. And in his excitement, he jumps out of the boat and wades to the shore. In times of real despair, Jesus is still there for them, still feeding them, still loving them, still giving meaning to their lives. Then, after breakfast, Peter has a heart-to-heart with Jesus. The good news of the resurrection for Peter had been clouded by his betrayal. As before, he was conscious of the sin which separated him from his beloved Lord. Now, for his denial, his failure to keep his promise and to live up to his calling, Peter receives complete forgiveness and a new commission to feed my sheep, says Jesus. Eddie Askew writes, now in the echo of that first experience, Jesus was helping Peter to put behind him all the disappointment, all the pain and guilt of his denial, and take new heart. This was the beach where Jesus had first called Peter and where his new life began. Now, on the same beach, Peter is renewed. He could start afresh, the past behind him. And that promise holds for you and me. However bleak the future looks, life can begin again. The damp breeze bites at my back, Lord, strikes to the bone. I shiver. In the morning cold of memory of things not done and others done I'd rather not have done, my neck draws in regrets. I'd rather leave submerged, and yet your morning presence reassures. Your love glows warmer than the fire, chases the chill, tells me that what's behind can stay that way. That memory will never come between your face and mine. In offering me the bread and fish, the past's wiped out, the present's precious, the future in your kingdom. Life can begin again, the taste of love more than a memory. If you're looking at the written text, I've included a couple of photographs of the Lake of Galilee taken on our Holy Land trip, one early morning and the other towards sunset. I think as we were sitting there, we sang the hymn, Dear Lord and Father of Mankind, and I think it's a good idea to use the words of this as a prayer for today. God bless you.